Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
So we are going to talk about home values falling in most of the U.S.
At the same time that we have more darkness in most of the northern hemisphere.
So there's three things happening simultaneously, which probably you should be terrified of. One is home values are falling. Now, this is from September to October. Two is the days, I just figured this out. The amount of daylight is decreasing every day.
Mm-hmm.
At the rate it's going, it's going to be completely dark probably by June of next year. There'll be no more sunlight. I've been tracking this, okay? And then the other thing is it's getting colder.
It is.
Just a few months ago, it was in the hundreds. It's been in the 50s. I predict by next March or April, it'll be sub-zero temperatures because that's the trend, right?
Okay, we're done making fun.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to go through this article. It's actually 4 hours. This is what we did. Juana sends me articles that she wants to do videos on, and I read them.
Okay, so this means that if you don't like the videos, you can blame me for them. Okay, I understand this is what you're trying to tell them.
And then I read the articles and decide if we do the videos. But this case, we took data from 4 different, they kind of were tied together, and I didn't want to do 4 videos. So I just said, let's just put all this stuff. We got a lot of charts, so this might end up being a 20-minute video, apologize. But here's what's interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff in this. Okay, let's start. We'll just start going through slides and talking, okay? Okay, despite mortgage rates reaching a 23-year highs, low inventory levels are spurring a surprisingly strong competition, according to Zillow's latest market report. Depleted inventory stocks, and stocks, it means stocks of homes, are gradually recovering and price appreciation is slowing. Price appreciation is slowing, but they just said home prices are falling, but now they admit that price appreciation is slowing. But demand has remained resilient and attractive. Appropriately priced listings are moving quickly. Does that, now I swear to God, this is like the second paragraph, first or second paragraph in the article after that headline. Completely different, right? What I thought was interesting about this was notice how they only want to go back 23 years. Like, in the last 23 years, that's a surprising weird number. Why don't they go back 30 years or 40 years? Why 23? What's substantial about 23?
Well, it makes their point. It's about manipulating data to fit their narrative. But even at that, as you read the article, it still doesn't fit their narrative.
Okay, here's the next one. Home values fell in October in most large markets, led by Austin, Minneapolis, New Orleans. Austin, as we know, was had a super high price run up. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely adjusting. But here's the interesting thing. Home values continue to rise month over month in only 10 of the 50 largest U.S. metro areas. Miami leads the way, 0.5%. So that's a 6% per year rate, okay, followed by San Jose, San Diego. Juana?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't surprise me that 10 of 50 markets had price appreciation. It surprises me that 10 to 50 that any markets had price appreciation. Going from September to October, what normally happens?
The opposite. So, these are markets that have been hot for some time, and they're still continuing to attract buyers, and sellers are able to sell their homes quickly for list price or above list price. And that's good for these markets. I think it's interesting that somehow the authors of this article are surprised by that. I mean, look, these are markets that have been hot for some time now, for the last couple of years, and the idea that they would put on the brakes overnight, that's not reasonable either.
One of the 10 markets with month-over-month price increase was Vegas. It wasn't a ton. It was 0.12%. But remember, a lot of these could have been down like 0.05%. They would have said, prices are down. Okay, here's the next one. On an annual basis, home values are up in 34 of the 50 large. So annual basis, when you compare the same month each year, home prices are up 34 and 50 of the markets. It's up from 32 markets from September to September. So actually, using these metrics, this is not like dramatic terrible information. Home values are up the most since last October in Hartford, 11.4%. Isn't that crazy? Hartford, Connecticut. Milwaukee, Providence, and Boston. Austin's down 9.2. New Orleans down 9. They have the biggest home drops over the past year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, I mean, we definitely have had weird stuff happen in the housing market because of people leaving
Right. Well,
cities and a lot of relocation.
a lot of relocation. So moving companies have done well.
Moving companies, that's pretty interesting. We should find all the data. We did a bunch of videos on moving companies
Right.
and where people were going.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Okay, now this is the Zillow Home Value Index. This is where they got some of their data. There's a bunch of Zillow charts. We're going to do them. If you look at this is home prices basically from like 2000 to today. Now remember that number's an index. It's not the median price. It's not 347,000. It's an index. At some point, they just made 100,000 the index. And then, remember, they had to go retroactively because Zillow didn't even exist till 2006. They didn't have any listings on their website till 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
So Zillow, it's not like Zillow had this data going back this far. They grabbed the data. What is really interesting on this chart, Juana, is this month over month, okay? First thing I want to show you. On the chart on the left, do you see the little wavy lines? Every year it goes up and down, but it's kind of moving up. Juana, what is that?
Seasonality.
Seasonality. So what they're doing is they're comparing the drop in the fall, going, oh my gosh, look. So like every year you could say that. Every year in October, November, an article will come out going, oh my God, look, home prices are falling. Oh my God. And then what happens is they go up the next year. This month over month chart shows that fully. Mm-hmm. All of those peaks are the spring. 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. All of them. All of the bottoms of those. Remember, this is not home prices. This is the month over month appreciation. Mm-hmm. All those bottoms are the falls. And you can see 2023 was the lowest. We're almost through, because we're in November now. This data, though, was as of October. So, it's doing what it does every single year. It's seasonality. But it's sort of, I think, disingenuous to paraphrase this is the market's crashing or whatever, right?
Well, you're going to get a lot more of these articles as data is just fed into AIs and they're writing articles because then it doesn't take humans to write them. So there's just going to be so much more content like that. And the more content like that there is, the more it feeds other AIs to generate more content like that. It's this kind of, self-perpetuating prophecy that is not necessarily reflective of reality.
No, yeah, exactly. Here's the next chart. Share sold above list. 2023 looks just like all the other years. It's about the same as 2020, not as hot as 2021, better than 2022 and 2019. Mm-hmm. Share sold above list price. We found that number is like a third, right? Or 29% or something. Also, this was from a different article, but it clearly shows that all is not like lost in the real estate market. Here's another one. This is the inventory level of inventory. You can see the same, remember that seasonality? The inventory is increasing and then decreasing, and it drops in January. And here we are, it's less. This is actually not worse unless you're trying to buy, then it's worse. But if you own a home, you have less competition. Now, the trajectory looks interesting. It looks like it's going to, maybe by November, December, it'll be up in with the other years. Mm-hmm. I thought this was an interesting chart. This was another very, very interesting one. This is the Zillow Rent Index. Mm-hmm. You can see that rents have basically, this only goes back to 2016. Rents have, haven't doubled, but they're darn near close to doubled, probably up 70%. Mm-hmm. Is that something? And look at the trajectory here. Now, remember, if you look back at the year over year, rents basically go up 4% a year. That's what that thing is showing. Mm-hmm. But then you see in 2021, you have the beginning of COVID, and rents cut, because there was uncertainty. But then all of a sudden, boom, rent shot up 15% year over year, and then remember we talked about the rents. People said rents were falling, but they weren't falling. It was the amount of rent increases were falling. And you can see here that we've bottomed out at only rents going up at 3.2% a year. And it looks like we're just going to go back to maybe 4% because you can see the very bottom, it starts to, like it's ticked back up.
Right.
So I think rents basically are going to go back to 4%. And we'll see about that.
So when we say 4%, this is national. So your market may be substantially different. So you take a market like Las Vegas where there's a large influx of people every month. So rents may do something a little more exciting here as far as appreciation. We'll see how that pans out. And you'll have other markets where there's not a lot of activity, so you might see a less robust rent increase.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about these numbers, these are national numbers.
Right. So that was all the charts that I pulled from the articles.
Okay.
One, what's the expectation? I know because we're getting people that come in the comments with our price is still falling. I don't know. I mean, that's like the worst. That's like it's a false premise to ask the question that way.
Okay. So prices are up for 2023 in Las Vegas and across the country. When you're looking at the whole market, right? They are up. They might not be up where you are. They might not be up in your particular neighborhood. But when we're looking at it in a general sense, they are up. What do we think about 2024? I think it's going to be very similar to 2023, but I think we'll see more activity. Even though uncertainty, both regarding interest rates and unemployment and the election, tends to make people hunker down. I think they've been hunkered down for so long that you're going to have more and more of them break loose. I don't think we're going to have a lot of activity, but I think we'll have more activity than we had in 2023.
From now on, there's going to be a $20 fine every time you use the phrase hunker down.
Why?
I don't like the phrase. They're not really hunkered down. It's not like they're hiding under a blanket.
Okay, so
eating small amounts of food.
All right. So I need you guys to help me out. If he's going to charge me $20, I need you guys to tip us $20 so that
tips.
Yeah. So
one that needs tips.
so he doesn't fine me $20.
I believe the best thing that could happen to the housing market right now is a nice little recession. A nice little recession, but people are like, but Todd, a recession, job losses, the foreclosures would crash the housing market. Well, we just had a recession in 2021, remember? And what happened to housing? It just skyrocketed. And why did it skyrocket? Well, it skyrocketed because the Fed dropped interest rates to zero. Mm-hmm. They dropped interest rates to zero to 0.25. That was the federal funds rate. So the 10-year went to 1% or some crazy number, and mortgage rates were 3%. So any recession is going to lead to massive interest rates cuts, which will immediately instantly cause people to go out and buy homes. 5 of the last 7 recessions, home prices went up. If you're thinking that the second somebody loses their job, the next day their house is foreclosure sale at the courthouse steps. How long does it take to foreclose on a house today versus 2006, 7, 8, 9?
Okay, so today it's about 1,000 days. Back then it was around 6 months.
Yeah. 120 days from the notice of default, they can foreclose.
So who thinks that Todd jonesing for a recession is just wrong?
I want a nice little recession, a little correction. Stock market would be nice. Stock market drop a little. Home prices, it'd be nice if home prices tank. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, but I am going to tell you that foreclosures are going to be up. Foreclosures will be up in January, February. Okay?
Okay.
Want to ask me why?
Why?
Maybe I'm not going to tell you.
Tell me.
I'm going to tell them.
Tell them. Don't tell me. I'll go like this. I won't listen.
Okay.
And I won't watch the video afterwards.
There you go.
Even though I have to edit the video. If I see myself with my hands over my ears, I just won't listen. I'll just do the thing. Okay.
So the reason foreclosures are going to be up.
I'll even close my eyes so I can't be accused of reading your lips.
And you wonder why I roll my eyes at him. Okay. So, but this is an every year thing, right? So what happens is it is unpalatable to have foreclosures between basically the middle of November to the end of December because of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the whole holiday season thing.
No,
So it's true story.
I've got a story about this.
So,
Finish up.
So they so lenders tend to kind of back off and postpone foreclosure sales. It doesn't mean that it stops the clock. So I want to emphasize that it doesn't stop the clock. But what that means is because they're not having the foreclosure sale in this during this time period, then all of a sudden you're going to have more foreclosure sales in January, February, which is going to make those numbers be artificially high. So when you see those numbers be higher than they were the previous couple months, now you understand the reason. It's not that the sky is falling, it's that they're just making up for what they didn't do for the 6 weeks over the holidays.
Okay, so as you may know, Juan and I have sold over 3,000 foreclosure bank-owned homes.
If you didn't know, he's going to beat you up with that information. Please continue.
Okay. The reason I'm saying this is because Juan had just said about the holidays. Okay, this is a funny story. It was Christmas Day of 2009, and I was at home, and it was because Christmas Day, so no one in the office was working, and I literally get an email from, I think it was Wells Fargo, but it was one of my bank clients. It was a new assignment. Now, a new assignment, it means it's a foreclosure that we're assigning to you as the agent. So I got this new assignment, and the first task is always an occupancy check. Now, apparently somebody went in on Christmas, is working, and they had to assign this property, assigned it to me. So on Christmas Day, I don't get to get a foreclosure assignment. The first task is occupancy check. They want us to drive by, knock on the door, look in the windows, and all we have to do is report if it's occupied or vacant. And then that triggers other tasks. If it's occupied, it triggers cash for keys, and then if it's vacant, we get it rekeyed, we go do photos and everything. So I drive by the house, and it's an older house, but it's got one of those like the big front windows. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, there's the tree, and you can see like the family sitting in the living room. And all I did was drove by, turned around, drove by again. I think I might have even taken a picture front because I had to take a picture of the front, but I may not have. And then I just drove home. And it was like, there's no way I'm going to door knock these people on Christmas Day and tell them that their house was being foreclosed. But I waited until like the staff came back in on like whatever the next day and said, go post, on their door, knock and tell them. But I didn't want to ruin their Christmas by telling them there. Because I don't know if they were the homeowners or renters or what, but it was a foreclosure. Literally, I got it assigned on Christmas Day. It was a funny story. So
but that lets you know that, the REO business doesn't sleep, right?
Yeah.
The asset managers are working. We obviously worked to look. The REO business is a rough business. It's a lot of work, and it is. There really is no time when there's downtime. So even though it was Christmas, Wells Fargo was working, Todd was working. So that's kind of how life goes. So we kind of went in a different tangent. Sorry about that. Please remember to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Leave us your real estate related comments. If you are from out of town coming to Vegas for the Formula One race, tell us your impression about Las Vegas, how it's completely been transformed for Formula One. Go take a look at the different places that are completely different. Go take a look at the Bellagio. They've got stands over the lake, and the palm trees are gone from the sidewalk. Yeah. Go take a look at the Venetian. The lake in front of the Venetian is gone, and they have stands there. It's just amazing how the whole strip has been reinvented for Formula One. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes them to put it back together to normal.
A week, they said.
I hope so. But certain things will never be back. For example, the palm trees; those aren't coming back.
No, the palm trees. So sad. Those palm trees were.
Yes.
I bet they're $20,000 each, and I'm willing to bet there were 15 to 20 of them. Yeah. It's the whole front of the Bellagio. Those palm trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, go take a look. It's kind of fun to see how it's been transformed, and it'll be really fun to see how long it takes to put it back together. We appreciate you watching the video. Like I said, please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us your comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.